Ah! Fuck! What did I do last night? Ugh, man, I gotta stop having so much flu. Oh well, time to get out of bed. Oh, fuck, I did it again, didn't I? Bought another shitty Sword Art Online game. Well, I bought it, might as well review it. This is the review of Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. They say that all anime games are created equal, but you look at Dragon Ball FighterZ and Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet and you can see that is not true. This game is not worth mimicking Scott Steiner over. Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet is a game that had a lot of potential, and it does have its merits, but ultimately ended up being one of the most frustrating games I have ever played. Frustrating to the point where I couldn't even be bothered finishing the title. Fatal Bullet does do a few much needed changes to the Sword Art Online games. For one, you're now playing in the Gun Gale Online arc in Sword Art Online. So no more fairies and swords, but instead we get Pew Pew. Another big change is that you don't have to play as a character like Kirito or Asuna this time around. Instead, you get to make your own custom OC this time around, which I know a lot of people are going to be in love with. Behold, anime ZMans. Your player character awakens a CPU bot named Rei, who you also get to create, and she might as well just scream Living MacGuffin in the first cutscene. Rei is a CPU bot that everyone is after in GGO to have sex with. Let's face it, we're all thinking the same thing. All of your favorite characters from the show are here: Yuki, Klein, Kirito, Asuna, Leafa, who is doing her best Sonya Blade cosplay, and of course, best girl, Sinon. If you've ever wanted to hang out with your favorite characters in Sword Art Online and chat them up, well, here you go. The character interactions are very nice, and fans of the show will feel right at home here. They can easily translate this text to the anime, and it'll be just as good. I think they are making an anime of this arc. I do believe you get to romance certain characters, but unfortunately though, I did not get far enough into the game to take any character to bed. But for the record, I would have gone with this white-haired bombshell right here. Man, what's the point of living if she cannot sit on my face? The characters look and sound like they came out of the show, but they barely animate. And the environment of GGO looks fine, but the levels you play in aren't really impressive to look at. What's your favorite dungeon? The Grey Dungeon, the Grey Dungeon, or the other? Grey Dungeon. Last year I talked about Axel World vs Sword Art Online, which was a clunky hack and slasher. Fatal Bullet this time around is a clunky third-person loot shooter. Well, I'm being too harsh here. Fatal Bullet is a perfectly functional, perfectly working video game. If you've played any other shooting game in the past 2 decades, you know what to expect here. Left stick to move, right stick to aim, and trigger to shoot, and it works just fine. The player character can dash and sprint for mobility, and they even have a grappling beam to reach high spots. And I like that, as it makes maneuvering around the stages much faster and much easier to do. And you get to those high spots to take out many bad guys at once. It's kind of like playing Bionic Commando. The good Bionic Commando, excuse me. Now, as you learned with Street Fighter V and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a functional game doesn't necessarily make for a fun game. And that's one of Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet's fatal flaws, is that it just isn't that fun. Early game sucks, your drowning cutscenes and early weapons from the shop are totally goddamn useless. Thankfully, it doesn't take too long to get better weapons from the overworld. A big aspect to any shooting game is the shootouts. And unfortunately, in Fatal Bullet, it's the fatal combination of annoying and boring. It's annoying because bad guys will frequently spawn right in front of you and will instantly fill your body with bullets. There are these flying bastards who take forever to kill and will instantly draw a beam on you as soon as they're in your crosshairs. And worst of all, you'll frequently just find yourself outnumbered and just being worn down by the amount of bad guys there are out there. A lot of my deaths were not due to smart AI or smart strategies, it's because I was simply outgunned or outflanked. And unfortunately, the game is still boring because you just use the same strategy for each shootout. Hide behind a wall until they hit the wall, pop out for a bit, shoot them, and then run around and rinse and repeat for each encounter. When you die in this game, and that will happen a lot in this game, there's no strategy to getting better next time other than bringing better weapons and hide and go seek again for each single encounter. It becomes a battle of trying to not fall asleep while playing PS4. The boss battles also suck because all of them are damage sponges and don't change up their strategies in battle. So it becomes a battle of attrition, and each single boss has that one attack that does a grip of damage and somehow is really hard to avoid. It then becomes a battle of not trying to throw your PS4 controller against the wall because you died for the 50th fucking time that day. Your CPU helpers tend to do more harm than good. They frequently stand around trying to block bullets with their faces, and they will always come to your aid when you die, which sounds nice, but frequently if you die in the crosshairs, they're gonna stand around taking bullets while they're trying to save you. forcing them to die and forcing you to restart the whole level over and over again. Well, not the whole level, you can go use checkpoints, but damn it, I don't want to sit through loading screens again. While setting your weapons and your costumes are fine, you just do that from the pause menu. In order to set specific skills and set your sub-weapons like grenades, you have to go to the main home and set them in the main terminal. Why couldn't I do that from the main menu? And as for the plot, it commits two cardinal sins of storytelling. There really isn't any conflict or anything of interest to keep the player motivated to go further and further in the story. And even the worst, the player character feels like the awkward friend who got invited to the party by his hot friend who he's trying to bang, but in reality all he wants to do is go home and smoke weed and listen to the Discovery from Born of Osiris before Toonami comes on and orders Domino's at midnight and washes down with Mountain Dew Code Red, and he was going to invite said girl out to hang out and play Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis, but he got dragged out of the house, but he's desperate, so he's trying to act friendly to everyone around him, but really he just wants to go home and watch One Punch Man. Woo. Long story short, the custom character is only there because he or she awakened the CPU sex bot and could have easily been replaced by one of the new characters that Fatal Bullet introduces. The only play as Kudaha or that really thick white-haired girl, god damn it. Okay, the plot sucks, the gameplay is little more than hide-and-go-seek bullets to faces, and the UI, it could have been a little bit better. At least the loot must be worth it, right? Well, I guess. Venturing out into the various playfields will net you some better weapons and gear. Hell, before I hit level 20 I managed to snag 3 epics, and a legendary, and a bunch of rares and uncommons that I sold for bullets and making Rage Chat look pretty. I should note that there is online multiplayer co-op in Fatal Bullet, but I was unable to test it during this review. I can imagine this game being a lot more fun with an actual friend instead of a CPU bot. Fuck, I am dying a lot. God damn it, this game reminds me a lot of Dark Souls. Wait a minute there. Now I know what y'all gonna say. Z-Man, who do you think you are? Fucking Polygon, you goddamn hack? Sword Art Online is nothing like Dark Souls other than the Bandai Namco publishing. What the hell's wrong with you? Well, just hear me out for a second. Hear me out. Dark Souls is a game about questing different lands, using different strategies to kill tough opponents, collecting loot, and feeling damn cool when doing it. Fatal Bullet attempted the same principles, but failed. The environments look vaguely similar to each other, with same dumb, annoying, cheap bad guys to kill. Yeah, they look different, but the strategy is all the same. Hide and shoot. And whenever I died, it was not due to tricky AIs or like really good strategies from the opponents. It was just because I simply just got outnumbered and just got shot. And when I did clear a room for all the bad guys, there was little satisfaction or weight in doing so. And that's the other main problem of Fatal Bullet, the fatal flaw if you will. It just isn't rewarding. The plot's inconsequential, getting loot isn't rewarding, and shooting down mindless damage sponges isn't conducive to having a good time. With some more playtesting, Fatal Bullet could have been a fun little anime game, but alas, there was no beaters here. Just developers beating off. Probably Tokusuto and Suga Hentai. Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet is a game that is hard to recommend. I feel like fans of Sword Art Online will get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I feel like people who really enjoy dungeon crawlers and can really stand repetitive gameplay will find some enjoyment in it, but ultimately I just could not stand this game. I could not stand Fatal Bullets. That's why I couldn't even be bothered to finish it. That's why my final verdict on Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet is a 4 out of 10. It wasn't very fun, it was just very frustrating, just a big headache of a game, and I really don't want to play it ever again. So I'm not going to play it. This game is getting sold back to the store I bought it from. And anyway, thank you for watching everybody. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff, and be careful how much glue you huff. If you huff too much glue, you're going to make bad mistakes and buy shitty games. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to bed, so later everybody. See you next week. Oh yeah, good shit!